you quickly 3 things to do if you struggle with being easily discouraged, distracted. Anytime there is a discourage, to be is to lack. Any lack. When you lack courage, I want you, number one, I'm going to be very brief, but I want you to understand the number one thing: you are not alone. We all struggle with lack of courage, depending on where we are, what we're doing. We all struggle with lack of courage. And the thing is, beloved, I think it's important for all of us to realize this is a common mindset because of the sin nature. The sin nature is negative. The sin nature is selfish. The lower sin nature is very, very much always exalting us, where we don't want to be examined. We don't want people to talk about us. We don't want to come up short in what we're doing. We don't want to come up short. We always want to be on the upside. And what this really is, friends, is the work of the flesh. Excuse me. The work of the flesh, in a nutshell, is what? Pride. The flesh wants us to be prideful and be selfish instead of selfless. And once you walk in the mindset of selfishness, you're going to be easily not only discouraged, distracted from the things that you ought to be doing. Because remember, the flesh is our enemy. The flesh is always after you. The flesh and the spirit is constantly fighting. Every single day there is a war going on. According to Romans chapter 8, the flesh and the spirit war, friend. There is a war going on. And if you don't, number one, understand you're not alone. We all deal with it, but not do we all deal with it, but not all of us choose to press on and do the thing we know we ought to do. You got to choose to do the thing. You cannot, excuse me, friend, let me open my door here for a second. Excuse me. I got all kind of things going on all at once. But listen, friend, you have to choose. Number two, I want you to do this, friend. This is how you're able to move out in the things of God. When you realize and you understand, unless the thing you're doing has eternal value, if eternity is not on that thing, it's easy to get off track. When I'm sharing the gospel, when I'm going amongst people who confess to be Christ, I find it easier for me to do and say things because I am concerned about my fellow man. I'm concerned about eternal things. If you're trying to make modifications and do things that you've never done before for the glory of God, friend, you got to understand eternity is forever and it's final. When you sit, what you're trying to do, if it's ministerially, if you want to be in the harvest for Christ, you got to remember this is about eternity. And when you put it there, you will find it easier to disregard discouragement and continue to move forward because there are souls at stake. If you don't really truly look at your motives, why are you doing what you're doing? It's easy to be discouraged. But if you hook that thing onto eternity, when you say what I'm doing has eternal value, I'm going to tell you also, friends, if you're married, let me use this as a example. If you're married, if you're in a bad marriage, you want to keep moving forward in courage to be a good steward in your marriage. Why? Because if you divorce your spouse and they go on and they're still alive, you're at risk of committing adultery. So you can mount up and have the courage to do what you got to do, because if you make a move outside of that covenant and you let discouragement because your spouse is not making changes like you want, he or she is not doing things the way they used to do it, so on and so forth, friend, Just keep eternity in the forefront, and you will be able to keep moving forward with the courage to love your covenant spouse, the person you made vows unto death do you part. Okay, till death do you part. Be very, very assured, friend. Everything we're doing has an eternal weight on it. Yes, it does. And once you make eternity your meditation, and it is what you value, you can have the courage to keep doing the right thing. Number 3, you got to be realistic. Courage is not without fear. Courage is deciding I will not be dominated. No, I will not. Courage says I will do this thing. Courage is not absent fear. It's deciding you will not dominate me. I am going to do this because I need to do this. This is what God is putting in my heart to do. So, number 3, be realistic, friend. If you're doing something new for the first time, it's going to scare you. It's going to make you nervous. If you have a project at college that involves you standing up in front of the classroom, you know the average person, we don't want this. We don't want this. Okay. Most people are so afraid of public speaking. But friend, you gotta do the thing. So you gotta be realistic. You're gonna feel the fear because you want to do a good job, but you say, no, you will not dominate me. I am prepared for this project. I'm going to stand up in confidence, and I'm going to do the thing. Friend, that's all I wanted to give you today. I've been out. It's so beautiful. It's 80 degrees here. We get, fall is interesting because we're in between these two seasons, right? But it's so beautiful. It's beautiful. So, with that said, friends, till next time, a great big God bless you. There are 3 things to consider if you're easily discouraged. Till next time, God bless. Thank you, Sister Pat, for jumping on. I'll see you all in the morning, God willing. God bless.